21 minutes past 3 Wednesday afternoon, David here till 6. Shall we take you to the theatre? Let's take you to the Barn Theatre in Cirencester, where something rather special is on at the moment, all the way through till the 12th of August. We're talking about Once the Musical. If you think you've heard this somewhere before, you have. This is a revival of a Tony and Olivier award-winning musical, which is on at the very, very special Barn Theatre in Cirencester, as I say, from now till the 12th of August. Sarah Moss and Thomas Wolstenholme are two members of the cast, and they're with us this afternoon. Hello, both. Afternoon.
Hello.
Afternoon.
Hello.
Thanks for having us.
Lovely to have you with us this afternoon. Fantastic. Thanks for being here. How's the run going so far?
It's going really well so far. It's incredibly exciting. The audiences have been fantastic. Yeah, we're loving it.
Yeah. And what about you, Thomas? How's it been for you in this gorgeous theatre?
Yeah, no, the theatre's really special. It's just the right place for a piece of work like this, and we're bringing it to a great new audience that I don't think many people have an experience of the show before, even know sort of what it is, and it's sort of magical. I don't know, it just fits in this sort of place.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the thing. If for something like that, to introduce somebody or someone to a particular show like this, which has had a bit of a storied history here, to do it in a lovely venue like this is all the better. Take us back to the beginning then, and Sarah, if you've not come across this before, set the scene for me.
So people might be familiar with the film, which it was based on, the film called Once. Then it opened in Broadway and moved to the West End. The story, it's a beautiful story. It's about two people that meet by chance one day. One is a musician who is on the verge of giving up on his music, going through heartbreak.
She's a musician too.
She is a musician too. She is a classical pianist. And they meet and they begin, well, an unconventional love story, shall we say, very much inspired and motivated by music.
And that's music. Music is the core thing that runs the thread that runs through the whole thing. It holds it all together.
It is, yes. Which is what you can expect if you come and see the show. It's very much a combination of theatre and a live gig.
Thomas, tell me about your character.
So I play a character called Guy. The character's called Guy and Girl. And
my character's called Girl. Yours is called Girl.
The characters are called Guy and Girl. And Guy, so it's set on the street. You meet him on the streets of Dublin, and he's in a really, really tough sort of spot. And he's about to give up on his music and maybe more than that. And his life's sort of fallen apart and he's very stopped. And the show sort of is about this relationship between love and music and how they sort of inform each other. And this girl that he meets on the street, she changes and saves his life, and inspires him to play and to have the reason to keep playing. It's a great story. And I've known the show since when I was back in London in the West End, and to be playing a part like this has just always been my dream role. Actually, I'm not making it up. It's always been the thing I wanted to do the most ever, and so to be doing it is just unreal. Yeah, I love these characters, all of them.
Well, you said you know from the West End. I gather you understudied one of the roles on the international tour as well.
Yeah. Well, I was in the West End version. It was my first job back in 2014. When I just finished drama school, and I was in the company now Swing. I swung a few roles. Then I got promoted, or not promoted. I changed onto onstage track, and then I understudied Guy on the international tour. That's right. So it's kind of, I did it once very briefly. Then as a bit of a fever dream. I was very young as well, and now it feels right. This is it. This is the version that I stand by. I think everything that happened before.
For an actor to say that this is the dream thing, the dream role, the dream production, what is it about this that pulls you in?
It's, well, like, I've never been able to say goodbye to these songs. Like the songs in this show, the writing, Glenn and Marquetta's writing and the script, like I've played them ever since I closed that show in 2015. It's not stopped. It's really deeply personally connected to me, and I've always had unfinished business in my personal life with what this show is, and the parallels on Guy's journey and Mai's journey and our stories, which are different but similar in more ways than I'd like. And it's never left. And I've always held on to the fact that I had it, and it was great to have it, have had it, and and it was ideal, it was great, and it was there. But it's always been something that I've never really let go of, and this in some big ways a really nice way to sort of put a bow on that.
Sarah, tell me about your character. I don't think we talked about your character in a bit of detail here. Tell me about yours.
So I play Girl. essentially, who is the person that charges full steam ahead into Guy's life one day. She's forthright, she's direct, she's full of energy. We find her very much focused on Guy, his storyline, his heartbreak, his music, but she is very much repressing all of the same sort of trauma, I suppose, that he is. And through her helping of him, she is forced to confront her own feelings and finds herself swept up in her own love story, essentially. She's Czech. She is a young mother. She's estranged from her husband. She writes songs as well. And yeah, it is just this beautiful love story, I suppose, between the two of them. And I think what Thomas was saying about how these songs stick with you, I think that is something that, irrespective of any personal connection you might have, audiences are feeling every day when they come and see the show, that this story and these songs, you will see yourself in them. I think it's a very relatable story.
And as far as you're concerned, had you ever come across this before? Had you seen it in the West End? Had you seen it anywhere else? Or is this your first introduction to this particular performance?
No, I don't have the same connection that Thomas does, but I saw the original production in the West End. I had several friends who were involved in it, and I had actually been in for the role once before. So I had, fallen in love with the music and watched the film and all of that. But similar to Thomas, I would say this production feels like the right one for me to be doing. What our director has done with the material and what the theatre is able to host in terms of the show, how it does feel like this incredibly intimate play, whilst at the same time feels like you're watching a gig at the O2 Arena. This feels very much like the right role, the right show, the right time.
The best always do, though, don't they? The best always capture you on that one-to-one basis, even though you may be watching it in a huge bowl or at an intimate venue like the Barn.
Yeah,
it's terrific. You talked a bit, Thomas, about your relationship with this and how important and how personal it is to you here. For your money, do you think this is something that isn't as widely known as it should be, this particular production?
Yeah, so like this, the show's always sort of had this like cult vibe, like a cult hit thing, and if you knew about it, you knew. If you'd seen it, if you were there in this thing, it's like, you can't quite describe it. It often gets described as a musical, which I think sells it a bit short. The book and the script is play kind of quality, and it could just be scenes, and this would still really be worth its weight. But by the nature of like it being such an intimate thing, and they've attempted, there's been a few tours and a couple other productions, and I know that around the world there's other ones as well, and people keep bringing it up. It was on the verge of being very mainstream back in, I say, 2014, 2015. And no one's sort of, it's not come back in that same way sort of like since, or it's always been, like I say, this little hidden thing, it's an indie film as well.
And it feels like it's the sort of show that when you know, and we've had people come back sort of 5 or 6 times already.
In a way like something like Blood Brothers. Once you've seen it once, you're going to go
back. You can't change. You were there, and you sort of like you want to share. And what's nice about this production is that we've taken it back to the script, and we've sort of left any pretense of what might have happened before in other shows kind of behind. We're very intent on not being an imitation of what came before, but we have the same building blocks and the same source material and the same heart and the same soul and all these things. And we've created something new. And it might be that this is sort of like a more modern take on it. I think by nature of it being just 10 years after since the last time we did it, it is. But this might have a bit more appeal, or might be able to appeal to a new audience, to the one that it had before. Because a lot of people, when you see something as what we in the rehearsal room described as this perfect West End production directed by John Tiffany and Stephen Hoggett and all these guys, that like we couldn't try and imitate that or even do something like totally derivative of it. We had to do something else because it was sort of perfect in this way. And so by nature of it being different, there'll be a new audience, and that's a really exciting place to do some art.
You've almost preempted my next question, because I was going to talk to you about a little bit about the differences here, because sometimes you've got the option when you take on a new production of in many cases an old favourite here, of putting your stamp on it as a theatre or as a company, or being faithful to the original book, if you like. There's a variation on the theme here then.
I think what's really interesting about Enda Wash's script is that the way it's written, There are so many beautiful gaps in it for interpretation. So it's incredibly incisive and it's incredibly bare. There is so much that's unspoken. The subtext is very, very heavy, but it's such a clean script that it does allow for you to look at it and go, right, what is the story and how do we want to tell this story? So I would say we've been incredibly faithful to the script. What we've done is, like you said, not try to emulate the original version. So Dom, our director, is very story focused. So every decision that's been made has been made with this story in mind. So I would say it's a very intelligent adaptation. The differences, I would say, from what people might know from the original ones that they've seen, I would say it's still just a soft and nuanced. There's still loads of beautiful folky elements, but we've got some electric guitars, we've got some synths, we've got some some brilliant lighting effects, we've got some neon, it's a bit more industrial, a bit more rebellious. There's a bit of punk in there. I would say, without sounding trite, that there is something for everyone.
With a cracking supporting cast as well.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I don't know where it'd be without them.
I mean, I'm in awe. I would probably identify as an actor who plays piano, but the people that are on this stage are just play multiple instruments to an incredibly high standard, and so I'm finding it's very inspiring to be part of and to be playing amongst these incredible musicians.
I when you talked about the script and like how open it is, I actually went back and looked at it the other day.
Okay.
Whoa, yeah.
You're checking the lines.
Of course. And it's so vague. It doesn't even, so a lot of it happens, there's a key scene that happens in a music shop and the characters say they're in a music shop, but there are no stage directions that say you're in a music shop. They just say lights up on Guy, he's singing this song. They say a piano's wheeled on, the scene happens. There's no if people knew what the starting point was, like in terms of being faithful to a production or a script or a piece of work, like it's 100% like faithful to what's on what's in black and white.
It's been written with this sort of every woman, every man, every world type quality.
Every guy, every girl.
Exactly. Hence the fact that our names are called Guy and Girl as well. There is a quality that whereby they want to, say to the audience, this could be you, this could be your life, this could be anyone's life,
I get the sense, both, that if I go and see this at the Barn between now and the 12th of August, that there are two things that are going to strike me here. I'm going to leave uplifted and I'm going to want to see it again.
I hope so. You might leave a bit sad though, in like the best way. You might leave a little bit heartbroken. There have been some tears.
Yeah. It is devastatingly beautiful, the story. I mean, it's or we like to say, like, it will break your heart and we'll patch it back together again, but like, yeah, it does hurt.
But if you
in the best way,
and I know it's difficult on that stage seeing the audience with the lights, but you can see the first few rows, and if you are seeing a tear shed or two, you've done your job, don't you?
I saw a grown man crying, and it's the most beautiful thing. And I was like, I just glanced up at the audience, and you're unmistakably seeing someone wiping tears away from their face in the front row.
It's gorgeous.
It's beautiful, and when that synergy is there, and obviously, like, audiences are different everywhere you go. Sometimes a little quieter in some places. If you tour as an actor or a musician, this. And getting to know our Cirencester and our Cotswolds audience is really, really fun, and everyone enjoying it in the way that they want to enjoy it and responding in the way that they feel comfortable.
But if you hear a sniffle or two and see somebody dab their eye, you're doing your bit.
Well, we're with you.
I'm crying too.
We're the same. You sit on that front row, I'm a mess. So,
well, it sounds an incredible production, and all the very best with it at the gorgeous Barn Theatre. Once the musical till the 12th of August. Sarah, Thomas, thank you for being with us this afternoon.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, all the best. Bye. Sarah Moss, Thomas Wilson-Hume, two are the cast of Once the Musical. It is, as you heard there, quite a tour de force, really, of variety of things that of genres and music and emotion and there'll be tears, there'll be laughter as well. It's at the Barn Theatre and it's taking place from now until the 12th of August.
David Smith, BBC Radio Gloucestershire.